What makes someone a hero? Is it speed, strength, or perhaps being human, even when you've become larger than life? Some men are born to break boundaries. Some are born to redefine what's possible. Ayrton Senna, the immortal hero of the track. A story that crossed the finish line of time. Ayrton Senna was more than just a driver. He was emotion. He was soul. He was Brazil racing at nearly 200 miles per hour. He was tears, thunderous cheers, pride. He was the silence of an entire nation and the loudest roar sports has ever heard. But Senna wasn't born a legend. He was born a boy, flesh, bone, and dreams. Ayrton Senna da Silva didn't just conquer the world's toughest circuits. He transcended the sport. This is the story of Ayrton Senna da Silva, the kid from São Paulo who dared to chase the impossible, who captivated the world, and left behind a longing that still makes hearts race to this day. Chapter 1. The Boy and the Rain. São Paulo, Brazil, March 21st, 1960. A boy is born into a middle-class family, one who would forever change what courage means on a racetrack. Ayrton Senna da Silva, son of Milton and Nede, he grew up in the calm neighborhood of Jardim Paulista. But give him a toy with wheels, and the boy turned into a rocket. Even as a child, Ayrton had something special. It wasn't just his natural skill, it was a kind of determination you rarely see in someone so young. And from an early age, Senna showed there was something different about him. It wasn't just talent, it was focus, obsession, total commitment. By age 4, he was already driving a toy go-kart built by his father. At 7, he was racing for real. And when it rained, that's when he truly shined. For others, rain was a hurdle. For Senna, it was where he felt most alive. It was as if he could talk to the car, to the track, to the elements. By 13, Senna was already showing signs of the phenomenal driver he would become. His early karting days revealed not just skill, but a relentless pursuit of perfection, one that would define his entire career. He wasn't just a fast kid. He was connected to something no one could quite explain. His eyes intense, his posture serious, his soul restless. While many chased victory, Senna wanted to understand it. In those silent training sessions, eyes closed inside the helmet, whispering to God in the middle of a downpour. There, one of motorsport's greatest geniuses was born, and the world had no idea what was coming. Chapter 2. The Rise to the Speed Olympus. It was 1981. A 21-year-old Brazilian arrived in England with nothing but a suitcase and a dream. European motorsport had no idea it was about to meet a force of nature. In Formula Ford and later Formula 3, it didn't take long for Senna to stand out. His iconic win in Macau under heavy rain in 1983 was the world's first clear sign. This was no ordinary talent. This was a once-in-a-generation driver. What set Ayrton apart wasn't just his natural ability, it was the fire in his eyes, the way he could reach limits no one else even knew existed. Now it was 1984. Formula One was in the age of titans. Prost, Lauda, Piquet, Mansell, and then there was him. Ayrton Senna, a new name, a young face, a presence impossible to ignore. He made his debut with the modest Toleman team, small, with no real expectations. But it only took a few laps for the world to notice. Something extraordinary was happening. A new protagonist had arrived, and it was during the Monaco Grand Prix, under a torrential downpour, that Ayrton, still a rookie, etched his name into the hearts of fans. Starting from 13th on the grid with a slower car, he began overtaking legend after legend as if the track were dry. In the rain, he didn't drive, he floated. While the sport's biggest names struggled to stay on track, Senna danced on the water. That day, he didn't officially win. Who did? Alain Prost. And that was where a rivalry was destined to begin. But for anyone who witnessed it, there was no doubt. A star was born. It was a sign. a whisper from destiny. The kid from Brazil had arrived, and no one would ever forget him. Soon after came bigger opportunities. In 1985, Senna joined Lotus. That's where he claimed his first win, in Portugal, where, naturally, it rained. More than winning, Senna moved people. His driving style was aggressive yet graceful. He had surgical precision, but raced with pure heart. In every corner, he poured in his soul. In every flying lap, he gave more than technique. He gave meaning. And the world began to understand. This wasn't just a fast driver. This was someone who transcended speed, someone who, without saying a word, could make the entire planet hold its breath. And that was just the beginning. Chapter 3. The Duel of the Gods. Every hero needs a rival, and for Ayrton Senna that name was Alain Prost, the cerebral Frenchman, methodical, precise, the explosive Brazilian, instinctive, raw, intense. It was mind versus soul, logic versus emotion. Two geniuses who refused to lose. The rivalry between Senna and Prost defined an entire era. Together, they gave the world some of the most intense, dramatic, and unforgettable duels in Formula One history. Things reached a boiling point when both drivers ended up on the same team, the legendary McLaren. Senna joined in 1988. Prost was already a two-time world champion, but the Brazilian made it clear he hadn't come to play second fiddle. On the track, there was no friendship. There was war. And every race felt like an epic battle. What followed were years of one of the greatest rivalries in sports. Two completely different styles, two opposing personalities, but just one goal: to be the best in the world. That same year, Senna claimed his first world championship title, and it wasn't just a win, it was a masterpiece. He had a poor start in Suzuka, Japan, dropped to 14th, but with blistering laps, a breathtaking overtake on Prost, and a strength that felt otherworldly, he won. And the entire world surrendered. That's when the myth took shape. But the following years would be even more intense. In 1989, controversy exploded. Once again in Suzuka, another championship decider. Senna and Prost collided. Senna crossed the line first, but was disqualified. The title went to Prost. The rivalry turned into open hatred. In 1990, Senna struck back. Same track, same stakes. And this time, on the very first corner, he hit Prost. Both were out of the race. And by points, Senna was champion. It was a rivalry that split opinions, but united the world in front of the TV. Each race between them was unpredictable, intense, almost unbearable in its drama. But even gods learned to forgive, and in time, Senna and Prost found peace, because deep down they knew one was the reason the other became great. Our rivalry made us better. Ayrton pushed me to limits I didn't even know I could reach. Off the track, there was mutual respect. On the track, we were warriors. Chapter 4. Brazil raced with him. While the world saw Ayrton Senna as one of the greatest drivers in history, Brazil saw something even more. Senna wasn't just an athlete, he was a symbol of hope. In a country scarred by economic crises, inequality, political scandals, and deep uncertainty, Senna was the victory people could call their own. Every race Sunday, Brazil would come to a standstill. Empty streets, families gathered around the TV, hearts pounding. And when he won, oh, when he won. Brazil is a country full of contrast. I'm proud to be Brazilian. When I win, it's not just for me. It's for every Brazilian who fights every single day. It felt like the entire country had won. The national anthem played on the podium, and there was Senna with eyes closed, hand on heart, the flag draped over his shoulders, crying. Not out of vanity, but because he carried all alone the joy of millions. And if there's one race that truly immortalized this connection, it was Interlagos, 1991. It was home, his dream. But up to that point, he had never won on Brazilian soil. And during that race, everything seemed to go against him. He was leading comfortably, But in the final laps, the gearbox failed. Only sixth gear remained. With excruciating pain throughout his body, barely able to control the car, he refused to give up. He took it all the way to the finish line, screaming from pain and emotion. When he won, he could barely lift his arms. On the podium, his team hoisted him up as he clutched the green and yellow flag with all his strength. And he cried like a child, like a warrior, like a Brazilian. That moment was etched into the heart of a nation, because in that instant, Senna wasn't just a driver, he was a mirror, a force, pure emotion. And more than any politician, more than any public figure, Ayrton Senna was the Brazil that worked, the Brazil that could win. Chapter 5, The Final Lap. It was May 1st, 1994, Imola Circuit, Italy. Formula One was facing one of the darkest weekends in its history. On Friday, Rubens Barrichello suffered a horrific crash. On Saturday, Austrian driver Roland Ratzenberger tragically died during qualifying. The atmosphere was heavy, tense, quiet, fearful. Senna, always sensitive, was deeply shaken. He spoke with his team, thought about not racing, but something inside him pushed him to go on. That Sunday morning, in his final moments before the race, Ayrton wrote in his journal a sentence that chills the spine of anyone who reads it today. "Nothing can separate me from the love of God." The race began. On the seventh lap, at the Tamburello curve, the world stood still. Senna lost control of his Williams at over 125 miles per hour. The car hit the wall with devastating force. For a few seconds, everyone waited for him to move, to raise a hand, a sign of life. But he didn't. The broadcast cut the feed. Silence filled living rooms, and in every Brazilian heart, an enormous void began to take shape. Hours later, the confirmation came. Ayrton Senna had died. Brazil stopped. The world mourned. Crowds flooded the streets. Men and women wept in each other's arms. Even children who had never seen him race felt the loss, because Senna was more than flesh and bone. Senna was feeling, and that day, Brazil lost its greatest idol. On that Sunday, the world didn't just lose an extraordinary driver, it lost a man who meant so much more. An athlete who redefined his sport, a Brazilian who lifted his nation's name, a human being who dreamed of changing lives. But even in death, he taught us something. He showed us that greatness isn't measured by how long we live, but by how intensely we live. Senna lived with passion. He raced as if every corner might be his last. He left a legacy no checkered flag could ever end. He left us on that track, but he drove straight into eternity. Chapter 6, The Hero's Legacy. Ayrton Senna left us too soon, but the legacy he built is so vast, time will never be able to erase it. He lives on, in every turn, every storm, every heart that races alongside his memory. He lives in kids racing toy cars down the street, in those who dream of becoming someone even when they have nothing, in those who wake up early, fight hard, fall, and rise again. Senna taught us that winning means having courage. It means discipline. It means putting your soul into everything you do. He was also an example beyond the racetrack, humble, quiet, generous, always concerned about others, about education, about the future of the next generation. And even after his death, he continues to change lives. The Ayrton Senna Institute, created in his honor, has already benefited millions of children and young people across Brazil, bringing quality education, opportunity, dignity. Because Senna always believed the greatest trophy in life is what we do for others. He became a statue, a tunnel, a school, a street name. But more than that, he became inspiration. Today, his yellow helmet is a symbol of national pride. His image means courage. His name means Brazil at full throttle. And even among new fans who never saw him race, there's a kind of respect that only true heroes receive. Because Senna was never just a driver. Senna was a life lesson. Now, let me ask you, what makes your heart race? What drives you? What keeps you going even through life's sharpest turns? Ayrton Senna wasn't just a race car driver. He was faith on wheels, pure intensity in motion, a living reminder that even when everything feels hard, we can push beyond. Senna taught us that winning isn't just about the podium. It's about falling and rising, about giving your all, about facing even the fears no one else can see. And now, I want to hear from you. What's your most unforgettable memory of Ayrton Senna? Was it that win at Interlagos, the yellow helmet cutting through the rain, or the eternal silence that followed the day he left us? Drop a comment and tell us what Senna means to you. If this story moved you, leave a like so others can feel it too. Share it with friends, with anyone who loves sports, with anyone in need of a little inspiration, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Here, every video is more than just a biography. It's a tribute, a moment to reconnect with what truly matters. Thank you so much for staying with us until the end. And remember, life is made of choices. Senna chose to go full throttle. He chose to live with intensity. And he left us something no turn in time will ever erase until the next lap.